I'm starting an oxygen not included colony in the aquatic DLC planet, with only Bionics, and it's 100% flooded. We got electrocuted instantly, but it's not over yet. Our power banks are gonna explode from water damage. The entire Bionic system is designed perfectly incompatible with water. Bionics or power banks, which one should we save first? Bionics will be stressed very quickly in water, but they can still move before their stress reach 100%, so let's save the power banks first. This storage bin is our secret weapon. If we store the power banks inside, we could stop the water damage for now. It's astonishing that a bin available from the start could be perfectly waterproof. Meanwhile, we have made a cave for our Bionics to hide. The natural oxalite also produced some oxygen to slightly push the water away. But we didn't start a challenge just to hide forever. The ultimate achievement of this DLC is to find the unknown native duplicant and solve 3 different missions to recruit her into the colony. If we can survive and complete this achievement, we can proudly say we are thriving in this planet. Let's move the power banks to the dry land so they won't try to recharge inside water later. There's some metal and dirt to be found near us. We can set up a research station and see which buildings can help us break out of an entire planet of water. What can we use to produce oxygen? We have found some algae around, but there isn't a lot of it. Looks like it's only meant to support us for a little while. We need to transition quickly. But why are they already eating new power banks? It's not downtime yet. Is there something going wrong with this DLC? Anyway, our Bionics have slept for a little while and produced microchips. I'm using them to craft a research booster that will unlock the supercomputer and allow us to research more efficiently. It might be a nice plan to use electrolyzers since we're surrounded by water. But why? Why are you recharging out of schedule again? I don't get it. What could be causing this anomaly? Now I get it. I'm playing on highest difficulty. No wonder they are so power hungry. But I wasn't aware of that. I don't remember changing the difficulty settings. Anyway, this challenge is now full Bionics in 100% flooded aquatic with highest difficulty. If anyone tells you Bionics are unplayable in Aquatic DLC, you can just show them this video. With the highest difficulty settings, we are getting a permanent 20% stress penalty per day, so if we don't keep them in high morale, things will get really bad. We already gave them a long downtime and a washroom. This should be enough until they learn more skills. But another problem is, all of our 3 Bionics look the same. Maybe assigning hats to them can help telling them apart. The area we can explore safely is very limited. We better set up the rechargeable eco power banks before these power vampires devour all the metal. To do this, we need advanced research and refined metals. But the hardest requirement turns out to be abyssalite. We need abyssalite to craft the eco power banks themselves. They aren't really far away from the base, but there's way too much water on the way and the terrain looks unstable. We have to reach them without flooding our precious dry land. We need an intermission because the Bionics needs lubricating, and we forgot to retrieve the starting gear bombs earlier. But we had to get in the water to build the liquid pump and support the electrolyzer, so as long as we can get the electrolyzer running, we can tolerate a little bit of electrocution. Now we can run the electrolyzer. We haven't unlocked hydrogen generators, but it will also take us some time to accumulate practical amounts of hydrogen. We should be reaching the abyssalite area while waiting for these. It's much more time efficient when we restrict the worker with a door so they don't keep running back and forth. Our electrolyzer is designed to release oxygen directly into the base. We are making our entire base an infinite oxygen storage, but Bionics have the perfect skill for this design. By learning the improved hardware skill, they will be completely immune to popped eardrums. Now we need a rock crusher to make some refined metals to upgrade our power system. This place is really cramped, but I'm trying to fit buildings more compactly because we still need room to expand our electrolyzer modules. I'm planning to make the second electrolyzer release oxygen directly from the top right tile and hydrogen from the left tile. But there's oxygen already trapped on the left, so I need to vacuum it before starting the second electrolyzer. Now both electrolyzers are running, and the gas are sorted automatically. Since we aren't spending power to pump oxygen, our electrolyzer design produces much more excess power than normal ones. They can feed 2 Bionics easily in a regular run, but due to highest difficulty settings, our power requirement is doubled, and we could only feed 1 Bionic per electrolyzer module. Looks like our power bank reserve is running low. We better merge the hydrogen tiles and actually start using the hydrogen to produce power, but a bunch of oxygen mixed into the room that I wanted to contain hydrogen. It would be a pain to pump and filter out all the oxygen from the room, but we have a free industrial level oxygen remover. It's called Bionics. By locking them in the room with doors, they violently sucked all the oxygen when we gave them a downtime schedule. Now we have everything we need. Let's set up the hydrogen generator system and craft rechargeable eco-power banks. The hydrogen energy shall be the best gift for our power vampire Bionics. So this is the unknown duplicate mission we are talking about. She demands pearl from us, and it sounds like we can produce it from the clamp beside her. But it might not be very suitable for Bionics to dive into the bottom of a lake yet. Let's expand our hydrogen power grid while finding a solution to navigate the huge lake. Now we are supported by a strong power infrastructure, we can afford to recruit a new Bionic. The printing pod is still underwater, but the new Bionic escaped quickly. Oh wait, I forgot the free power banks that come with each new Bionic. Should we go back again to save these? Let's give it a try. One metal power bank exploded, but we managed to retrieve the other ones back to safety. Now we can seal the pool again. Stress seems to be building up, so I'm retiring these manual generators and make a mess hall instead. But this doesn't seem to solve the stress issue. Oh, I forgot to make the new Bionic learn the improved hardware skill. Sorry for the popped eardrums. The unknown duplicant is still waiting for us. Let's explore more of this aquatic planet and see if we can find the ingredients to make sushi. So this tower kelp plant seems to be spawning a critter called kelpals, and kelpals can be harvested for nori. Nori is the only ingredient of sushi that is completely new to us. Now we know how to make sushi, but we still have to actually find the other 2 ingredients somewhere in this planet. There's a wrecked satellite emitting radiation. From what I saw in the research tree, we need radiation research to unlock sushi bars. Who doesn't want some radioactive sushi? We also found a fat fish that can produce iron ore, starfish that produces phosphorite. This plant is just decorative, and coral that produces oxygen. But I still wonder if we can make sushi with these creatures. As we keep pushing water back, we have acquired more dry land to build our stuff. I want to build fire poles next to the ladders, so I need to move the washroom and relocate some buildings. Another improvement I want to make is to use auto sweepers. I will have to relocate the mess tables because Bionics tend to drop empty power banks right at the table. I want the empty eco power banks to be delivered to power chargers automatically. Let's explore to the right. I want to create a passage between these 2 water pools. There's water everywhere, but we should be experienced enough to deal with all kinds of terrain. Okay, that was an accident. Everything is still fine. Let's take the plan B then. We will make the passage just below the giant lake of polluted water. We have revealed the rightmost part of the planet, but it seems we didn't find anything new. I guess that implies we should explore downwards instead. I guess this tiny pond isn't impressed with our diagonal tile building operation. We have better take an alternative route. The huge lake on the right shouldn't be affected as much as the tiny pool, even if we compress the water a little bit. We have found the teleporter. That is a useful reveal for sure, but I'm more excited about finding these reeds. Now we finally have something for Bionics to work underwater. But to access the reeds, they must first expose themselves to water. I hope they can understand that we sometimes need some sacrifice to progress our colony. There is one last direction for us to explore. The space appears to be quite close to our base. It feels nice to find somewhere without 50 tons of water above our head, as long as we didn't make the mistake of digging out these loose mud again. Because our main power source is hydrogen, it's so convenient to extend our power grid. All we need to do is extend the hydrogen pipe and build a new hydrogen generator. We will need a lot more refined metals for atmosuits, radiation research, and further power grid expansion. So I want to upgrade Rock Crusher into a metal refinery. The setup I'm using is temporary, but since there's so much liquid to use as coolant, this setup is virtually permanent. I'm sorry, little critters. I don't think we could save you in time. I'm really sorry. We can now access the teleporter safely, but I want to set up a new Atmosuit base here, so we can start farming the clams to produce pearl. But we know water could start leaking through tiles when we push back the water. The tiles might even break and all the water will be dumped on our head. But we are now vigilant enough to monitor the worksite. It isn't too late to repair the leak right after it happened. It's almost impossible to compress water in real life, so we can't really complain about the leak. We could have made the Bionics wear Atmosuits permanently and never bother to use checkpoints or docks, but since the Bionics skill update that could make them immune to popped eardrums and eye irritation, I don't find permanently suiting them necessary. It is time to grow some clamps. The game says they need to grow in water and require sand to fertilize. That doesn't sound too hard. I'm gonna dig out some tiles to drop the water level, so we have space to build more Atmosuit docks. But I can't find the option to plant clamps in this farm tile. Something must be going wrong. Maybe we need to plant it using this new wide hydroponic farm. Let's give it a try. Looks like we got this. But why is it not growing? The tooltip says the plant is indeed immersed in water, so what are we missing? I'll try relocating it to deeper water and see if it works. There are more clamps that can be found on the top. Let's see if we can reach them so we can grab them and expand our clamp farm. There's too much mud and sand on the top. If we proceed digging, they would sure collapse and flood our entire base. Let's try approaching the lake from the other side. Yup, it's much easier to reach from the right. The slime tiles released a bit of polluted oxygen, But that doesn't bother us, because our base is pressurized with 40 kilograms per tile of oxygen. Looks like the clamp is indeed growing properly this time. We could start planning about getting ingredients for sushi. I'm gonna purify the polluted oxygen anyway, because it's easy to do it, but we can see oxygen is pushing it back. It has no chance to contaminate our base. Always feels nice to reclaim more space from water. Now it's time to unflood this satellite and make it our radiation source. The highest difficulty setting makes it way more dangerous than usual, but currently the water is blocking most of the radiation. We have to carefully create a place to safely drain the water, then act quickly after the satellite is exposed. The operation was almost perfect, except I built a radbolt reflector instead of a radbolt generator. I hope the Bionics can tank a little more radiation exposure from rebuilding. The first Pearl mission is halfway done, and the sushi radiation research is in progress. We are really getting on track. But there's a new problem. We only had 2 electrolyzers producing hydrogen, but we keep adding in new hydrogen generators. You might be wondering how we haven't exhausted all the hydrogen yet. That's because not every generators are running 100% of the time. We keep using microchips to tune the generator efficiency up by 50%. That saved us enormous amount of hydrogen. Our base is suddenly flooded. Where did all the water come from? It must be the tidal pool on top dumped everything on us. This tidal spring keeps sucking water and venting it out. That might have caused a significant pressure imbalance. We can't mop the rest of water because there's too much liquid. What do we do now? Let's seal the passage and take a little while to think about it. I think if we dig up these tiles, some water might merge with the lake below, and the liquid left on top might be moppable. Looks like another crisis averted, but we've been distracted for too long. Our hydrogen stockpile is still getting low. We need to add new electrolyzers now. Apparently, we're not worried about running out of water in this planet. The resource that we really lack in this planet is space. It's true that we've been infinitely storing oxygen, but I don't want to infinitely store all the water. It kinda defeats the purpose of this challenge. The building structure is almost complete, but we still need to prime this small room with hydrogen. Since we already have an existing hydrogen pipe, we could attract some hydrogen into the room, then deconstruct a pipe so the leaked hydrogen fill up this small room. Looks like the preparation is completed. Let's start the electrolyzers and enjoy more hydrogen. Alright, the Pearl delivery mission is completed. The game just pointed the second encounter of the unknown duplicant for us. She gave us a plastic gasket as a reward for giving her pearls. That's a new DLC item to replace plastic in many important buildings. I want to use the plastic gasket to build a tidal turbine. It's the new DLC building that uses tidal force to generate power. The tidal spring is sucking and venting the same amount of liquid in the long run, so it doesn't actually consume any liquid to activate. The tidal turbine is basically permanent free power if we can find a proper tidal spring to build on. What kind of bionics don't like free power? We might be too excited about the tidal turbine and overlook their stress a little bit. I'm sorry for that, but this run is not the 100 Bionics challenge. We will have enough replacement power bank once the stress Bionic runs out of power. There's still a lot of water blocking us, so we could only run a long wire like this to connect the tidal turbine with our power grid, but I'll fix it later if it's possible. I want to grow mealwood to make sushi, but there's a huge problem. Our entire base is overpressured with oxygen, and it's not a livable environment for plants. We will need to create an area with a normal atmosphere pressure. And we really need a wood source to build sushi bars. There's a new DLC plant called gum palm, but I can't find it anywhere. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be hard to find, or it just drowned because our map was 100% flooded. Since we can't find it at home, let's try exploring the teleporter planet. Tundra, wasteland, and swamp. It seems the terrain here are all familiar ones. Let's fix the mealwood first. It would be very painful if we have to pump out so much oxygen to drop the pressure, but our bionics can serve as the industrial level oxygen remover. The oxygen pressure is now less than 10 kilograms per tile, and we can grow the mealwood properly. We found oil and fish. We found so many stuff here, but I can't find anything for wood. Let's return home for now. Starting a new colony with highest difficulty setting isn't a joke at all. The liquid pump is out of water. It's a bliss in this challenge. After 80 days of pumping, we finally got our printing pod out of water. We're gonna have more space for building, but I want to preserve this nostalgic storage bin. It's the first building in this run that saved our precious power banks. I think we might be able to make plywood from plant husk, and we can get plant husk from harvesting plants if we have agriculture skills. But the plywood recipe also requires resin. How could we produce that? I don't think we have amber in this world, but shinebug eggs can also be made into resin. I remembered seeing critters hiding in a tiny unflooded space, and shinebug is one of them. Maybe some water tiles merged and the water level slightly dropped after the initial world generation. That might have prevented some critters from going extinct. Although we still couldn't build the sushi bar, we've been collecting the ingredients for sushi from wild critters already. I want to make a better food storage so they wouldn't spoil before sushi can be made. Bleachstone can be found on this planet, so we could make a separate area to make it release chlorine. Food inside a fridge in chlorine would spoil 5 times slower. That should be good enough for our purpose. This unknown duplicate mission is asking for so many different skills. We need radiation research, agriculture, and ranching just to make some aquatic food. So I want to recruit another new bionic to share the workload. This time, I'm not gonna forget about the improved hardware skill. It feels like we have unlimited water, but a lot of the liquid around us is actually salt water. Their appearance changed in this DLC, so I'm not that good at telling water from salt water yet. But we're gonna need a desalinator before we exhaust all the clean water. We have finally reached these lovely little critters, and they shall no longer be threatened by water. But look what we have found. It's the seed of arbor trees. This means we can just harvest wood from them instead of taking some convoluted industrial chain. We have just survived 100 days of 100% flooded aquatic planet with 100% bionics. The overpressured oxygen makes it so convenient for our bionics to breathe, and keeps any random gas away from us. But is it really that hard to make some sushi? Arbor trees needs to be irrigated with polluted water, so the farming area we created turns out to be very convenient. After all of our bionics have taken their turn to breathe, the gas pressure is still slightly too high. But if we dig out some tiles to spread the air, the remaining pressure should be low enough for plants to survive. Since our water pool is now mostly just salt water, I'm gonna renovate to a bottle filler instead, so we can make bottled water from the desalinator. For the last mission of the unknown duplicate, we will need even more research, including radiation and data analysis. After we added the 5th bionic, our power banks are getting low again. Let's take some time to add more hydrogen generators to further utilize our 4 electrolyzers and merge some power grids with 2000 watt conductive wires. I heard there's a new wire that can support up to 4000 watts, but we might not have the resources yet. I want to plan ahead for the last mission to recruit the unknown duplicate. It will need to use the new aquatic milking station, which requires databanks. The regular way to produce databanks requires doing orbital research with plastic, but we just need 30 databanks for our purpose. I want to see if we can get enough with analyzing geysers. An easy way to locate hidden geysers is to use the relative temperature overlay and set it to the coldest temperature possible. Almost everything would be extremely hot and shown in red when compared with negative 170 degrees, and the most common exceptions are vacuum and geysers. The natural gas geyser was originally dormant, but it happened to wake up during our analysis. But our high-pressure oxygen made it unable to vent a single gram of natural gas. But we've got liquid pressure damage. It's way too strong to be stopped by our oxygen. I didn't build new tiles recently, so I didn't expect this to happen. Come on, Ocean, I'm not trying to bother you. I was just planning to get to the third geyser on the right. We can get along, right? Let's open up the passage to the second encounter of the unknown duplicant, because we have harvested enough wood to build our sushi bar. We've got some nori from these wild kelp holes, and fish fillet from wild fish, but we are missing one last ingredient. I can't believe we have to make lice loaf while we're not doing 100 dupe challenge. I mean, we literally have 0 organic dupes. Maybe this is a way to demonstrate how good our colony is, when we can afford to make a bunch of food that Bionics can't even eat. Behold, it's time to make some sushi. The last mission requires caviar. Caviar can be milked from these seahorses, but we need to groom them first. It seems this aquatic grooming station needs to be placed against a back wall. That's a new mechanics in this DLC. There's no convenient natural back wall in this lake, so I'll have to build my own drywall. I have already crafted ranching booster in advance, so we should be able to start grooming them. What? We need swimming skills to groom them? How could our Bionics swim? I was trying to find a solution in despair when I saw this message, but it seems there is no solution. We need a miracle to beat this challenge with only Bionics. Do miracles really exist? Yes! The day after that, a new game update introduced the swimming booster for Bionics. Our Doom challenge has just officially revived. However, the swimming booster does not protect Bionics from water at all. It actually makes things worse by stressing them, and I could already see Bionics swimming into water for no reason. But I'm grateful that we finally have a solution to beat the challenge. Since the water level is getting low in this pool, we might as well just mop it completely and replace it with more generators. The new update demands that the aquatic grooming station must be in a stable. Enclosing this space wasn't hard, except that critters always know how to get stuck in the exact moment. But we're never gonna give you up because we're gonna groom you. Now we need to make the final data research to build the aquatic milking station. The data analysis station has a huge footprint, so we need to clear up some terrain and take the chance to rewire our power grid. We finally produced enough sushi for the second mission. She rewarded us another plastic gasket and revealed herself the third time on another biome. But we also just found the seed of gum trees we were looking for. Maybe the seed was there all along, but we just didn't see. We don't need the wood anymore, but the gum tree is still very useful for us, because we need 4 more gaskets to build the aquatic milking station. The 2 plastic gaskets we got from mission just isn't enough, so we need to either produce plastic or rubber to make more gaskets. Since we're trying out the new DLC, let's take the DLC way and get some rubber. Rubber is made from latex, which is made from gum wood. From what we learned in this game, I assume the gum tree needs to be planted in a wide hydroponic farm tile. Well, I was right that it was fat, but it's also very tall. I have to move it to the bigger room. I planted 2 gum trees, a farm station, and a fertilizer synthesizer to accelerate plant growth. Interestingly, the fertilizer synthesizer ignores the high-pressure oxygen and managed to release natural gas. It's a bit annoying, but we only need little amount of fertilizer so we could turn the synthesizer off already. Although the natural gas managed to get in our atmosphere, it will still be pushed back to the corner. Why are the seahorses starving? There are still pearls in the fish feeder. Now I got it. They are too tall to reach the food. Looks like everything in this DLC is either too fat or tall. That's okay. We just have to rebuild the feeder on a higher spot, and we will have another seahorse stuck on the feeder. Oxygen not included is such a hard game, isn't it? Okay, I guess this should be the perfect location. The gum trees are growing nicely, but our water pool is completely dry again. The electrolyzers also stopped running and we didn't even notice. We have accumulated so much oxygen in our planet that would take hundreds of days to run out. But we still have to fix this. Let's seal the sides and see what good water source we can find. Gum wood to latex has to be produced with the plant pulverizer manually, but latex to rubber can be done with the vulcanizer automatically. With the Aquatic DLC, we now have a way to produce rubber to replace plastic in many applications, and it's done with only plants. Oil and critters are not included. We finally researched the aquatic milking station. We are getting close to caviar production. I think Bionics might actually love water. They are wearing protected gear right now, but I've seen them sleeping in water naked anyway. The unknown duplicant is now dwelling in polluted brine. How could that be a comfortable place to live? We have found the ornament in this planet. Since we also have access to wood, we can now build communal table and upgrade our mess hall to a banquet hall. We started this challenge completely surrounded by water, but the table has turned. We have now encircled this lake, and we are just one step away from beating the challenge. It feels like milking a seahorse is harder than building a nuclear reactor. But we finally did it after over 100 days of hard work. Now we just have to send the milk product into a gleaner building, and we shall get our yummy caviar. I'm waiting for the caviar delivery to happen. We should prepare to celebrate, but I think there is a huge problem. Her name is Minnow. Right after she joins us, she is suffering from eye irritation. That's what I have been wondering. Were you really comfortable living in polluted brine? I'm making a dedicated washroom for her. She could dine in our banquet hall and we're making more of her favorite sushi. But the real problem is, she's gonna get popped eardrums forever. Our entire base is filled with 100 kilograms per tile of oxygen, and the only way she could deal with this is to be in an Atmo suit permanently. But she doesn't look really comfortable wearing it. Maybe Minnow isn't suitable to live in the Aquatic DLC? Maybe the Aquatic Planet is actually meant for Bionics?